Now, you saw the title of this video, you might not be very surprised because I'm one of the few clowns that actually decided to pull for Yoimiya. However, there are a couple other things I want to talk about. When it comes to pulling a character, it's basically two things: how much you want them and how much you need them. And sometimes you need a character but you don't care because you might not like them, you might not like how they play, you might not like their design, whatever the hell the case may be. And then there are other situations where even though the character is absolutely trash or garbage, you just like them and you like their animations and you like their playstyle, so you pull for them anyway, despite how stupid that might be. If you're a free-to-play, you should not do the latter, I mean, just in general. But there comes a point in time where you need to ask yourself, am I good enough? Difficulty in Genshin does not really exist. You do not need strong characters for the open world, you do not need any sort of team composition for the open world. You can just shove whatever the fuck you want into your team and you can absolutely murder everything, every commission, every, story quest, whatever the hell the case may be. You can just beat it, okay? Difficulty in Genshin only matters in one of two instances. The first one are these combat challenge events like the Phantom Flow one that we have going on right now. These limited time events come every now and then, and they basically test how strong your characters are for some rewards. However, the reward that everybody wants, which are Primo Gems, are always left behind the easiest difficulty, the difficulty that literally anyone can achieve. You do not need strong units, you do not need a team comp. Just launch this, slap people for 2 minutes, and you get your Primos. In previous events, more well thought out events, there have been harder difficulties which reward stuff like calling cards or whatever, but in this case, the hardest difficulty awarded you for Mystic Enhancement Ore. The thing is that the harder difficulty versions of these events are almost always just whale events. They're just there for you to have fun and try to challenge yourself and basically just limit test how strong your characters are and how strong your team comps are. That's basically all they're there for, and that is fine. Although the logic is backwards, I think the hardest difficulties should give the best rewards, or at least some sort of cosmetic reward, like calling cards in the past, for example. So anyway, I understand why it's not done like that in this game, because this is basically just a DPS check, and the DPS checks and the power in this game is locked behind a paywall, and it's also time-gated, so I understand why it is not done that way. So basically, the bottom line is you don't really need strong characters for these events unless you want the super high rarity rewards, which are almost always completely garbage. So the only thing that actually matters in difficulty is, of course, the Spiral Abyss. To get the best rewards, you do actually have to clear the hardest content in the game. You have to clear levels where enemies are 10 levels above you. They have cracked out modifiers. There are different mechanics put into place for every chamber. You need to have strong units to counter the elements of the enemies, or the specific mechanics of that floor. So this is basically the peak, okay? If you can clear Spiral Abyss with 36 stars or even 33 stars, you don't need any more units in the game, okay? The current Spiral Abyss, the Inazuma Spiral Abyss, is the hardest abyss we have ever had in the history of Genshin, okay? There have been a bunch of different rotations. This one, by far, is the hardest. For some people, they might think of the first rotation as the hardest, where it had that, the cold stamina mechanic thing. Back then, the only main pyro DPSs were Diluc and Klee, and you also had Xiangling, but Xiangling was super underrated when she came out. And third of all, the game had just come out, so barely any people had level 90 characters, or they had super insane artifacts or anything like that, so it was probably perceived as the most difficult, but if that Spiral Abyss came back around now, it would get absolutely demolished. As I was saying, this abyss is super difficult. If you can clear this abyss, I do not think you need any other units. So what I would recommend that you do is take a look at your account. Do you have a strong Pyro DPS? Do you have a strong Hydro DPS? Do you have a strong Cryo DPS? Do you have Zhongli? Or do you have a strongly built Noelle? Basically, do you have a strong Geo unit or Geo support especially? Do you have a good Anemo character? It can be an Anemo DPS, or it can be an Anemo support. It can be Sucrose, Kazuha, Venti, or Jean. Do you have any of them really well built? If so, they're going to do you just fine whenever you need Anemo. And do you have a good electro carry for electro charge comps, or, you know, for countering whatever the hell it may be? It can be Kaching, it can be Beto, it can be Fischl. As long as you have a strong carry for all of your elements, and you can form 2 strong team comps, you should be able to beat Abyss. However, if you can beat the current version of Abyss, and you do not have, for example, a strong electro carry, because, let's be honest, the current Abyss doesn't really require a strong electro carry. Now, electro, in and of itself, is a pretty weak element, but I would still recommend that you have a strong unit, because it enables, like, firework team comps and things like that, and the characters just do a bunch of damage, like, for example, Beto. If you do not have a strong electro unit and you can still clear this Abyss, then I would recommend that you hold out for a strong electro character, or at least keep that in the back of your mind. Anyway, I'm getting a little too specific here. What I'm trying to say is that if you can build 2 teams that are strong enough to clear the current Abyss, you pretty much don't need any other character in the game. You are basically good to go, and I recommend that you just pull for the characters that you actually want to. Now, for me, that's pretty easy to say. Obviously, everyone's just going to tell me, oh, dude, of course you can do it. You're a whale, Mr. Soda. Well, I also have a free-to-play account on EU, and just to prove it to you guys, this is before the 2.1 store refresh, so I've never bought any gems on this account. I also do not have the battle pass or anything like that. Oh, whoops. I also do not have the battle pass or anything like that. And to top it all off, okay, to top it all off on this account, look at this.
Oh my goodness!
I have barely ever used any fragile resin, okay? I've probably used like maybe 10 or 12, maybe 15 of them in my life, but I have not used these, and it wasn't until like 2 weeks ago that I was actually able to unlock the time-limited resin from the domain, or sorry, the teapot. So the characters on my account have very painfully average artifacts. Like, for example, I have a Diluc. He has basically 2k attack, 79 and 145 with 0 ER. And even still, with having not spent any freaking fragiles or, you know, buying anything, I can still clear the hardest Abyss ever with at least 33 stars. I can't quite 36 it yet, but I mean, you know, you saw my fragiles, so just a little bit more time where I can farm some better artifacts for the characters that I already have. Because I went into this and some characters did not even have max level artifacts, okay? So once I do that and kind of get them a little bit stronger, I can 100% clear this with 36 stars on floor 12. So yeah, even free-to-play players, if you've been playing since the beginning of the game, you can definitely clear the current Spiral Abyss. And at the end of the day, guys, that is my one and only suggestion. If you can clear Abyss with 36 stars, it doesn't matter how OP a unit is. If you don't like them, don't fucking pull for them. And it doesn't matter how garbage a unit is. If you like them, then pull for them, because you don't need any units. That's what I'm trying to get at. Once you're at the point where you don't need any units, you are good to go. And how do you know if you need more units or not? If you can clear Spiral Abyss. That is my 2 cents on the Raiden Shogun and just banner characters in general. If you are missing that element, if you feel like you don't have, for example, a good electro carry, then definitely pull for Shogun. Or you could just wait until Beto comes around in a banner. I'm sure she'll be on one soon. But otherwise, just pull for whoever the hell you like. You want Booba Sword? Get the damn Booba Sword. So yeah, a lot of other Genshin content creators, especially for free-to-play, they will say, don't pull for this character, they're trash, they're garbage, and then at the end of their videos, they'll just say, oh, but you know, if waifu is laifu, just pull. Like, okay, stick by your guns, alright? Stick by your guns. That is my opinion. But yeah, that's all I had to say, guys. I hope this video was somewhat informative or insightful, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Take care.